So as this is loading, so just to let you know, this is live on YouTube right now. This is live on Facebook.
Awesome.
So say hi to the listeners.
Hey,
We're
everybody. Thank you guys for being here, joining us, and I hope you're ready.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna hide you,
Okay.
um, but I'm very grateful that you're being part of this
I'm
day
grateful to be
6.
on here.
I haven't lost sight of how many days yet, so that's good. That hasn't been too many yet.
It hasn't
But I just
blurred
want to say I'm
together.
super grateful that you're able to be a part of this. So I'm gonna hide you, and then we'll go into it. Hey everyone, I am Dwayne Morton. I am Mr. Show Up to Win himself, and here is another exciting episode of Show Up to Win presents Show Up to Hill. I have such an amazing new guest who just so happens to be my friend's soon to be husband, and he's a hell of a speaker, and he has an amazing men's health story. But also, he's just an amazing, great dude. And I love to be able to have a platform where I'm able to bring on amazing people. But if they can be amazing people that are in my circle of friends, it is definitely a hell yes. And so I am going to bring up Mr. Josh Lopez. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing blessed today, Dwayne. Thank you for having me on here. It's such an honor to be on this journey with you. To have 31 men for these 31 days of men's mental health. It's not a light undertaking, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just 30, thank God. So it's not 31. But anyway, um, so let me read off your bio because I think it's very powerful, but then it gives people a chance to understand where we're at. So
Absolutely.
Joshua Lopez is a podcast host, devoted father, and soon to be husband to my friend, and owner of Aurora's Roofing and Construction in DFW. That's Dallas Fort Worth for some of the people that aren't familiar with Texas. Joshua is passionate about mental health awareness, personal growth, and breaking the stigma around seeking support through his journey in business and family life. He advocates for resilience, emotional wellness, and building a life rooted in purpose, strength, and authenticity. How does that sit with you, man? Like when you hear someone else read that off about you.
Man, it's humbling to know where I've come from. Even from this point last year to where I am now, it's very humbling. And there was a point last year where I was like, I don't want to do this. All this is too hard. Why is everything collapsing? Why have I lost everything all at once? And it was really hard to get through everything. And the only
Right.
thing that got me through was just faith. That's it.
Faith. Exactly. So Joshua, so one of the things I have been leading off of the first question is just what do you feel like the mental health awareness that what we've done for men, like where do you feel like that is where we're able to what we've done right and then what we have done wrong? Like what's your opinion? Where are we at?
I feel like we've done very little to be right, actually. I feel like very little has been done. We get 1 month of men's mental health, and probably 20% of the country takes it seriously. It's talked about on the news channels. You have these other people on the same platforms advocating for it, but it's not enough. And where we failed, where it's not enough, it's not in our workplaces. It's not when we come home. It's not in our schools. There's no mental health education, no emotional intelligent classes being taught in schools at all. And I firmly believe if there was emotional intelligent classes being taught in schools, there would be way less bullying, and there would our school shootings would decrease significantly.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great response. And so for you, do you feel like the would you be able to put that into leadership? Do you believe that people look to you or you would like to be looked at to hold that flag and to build men's mental health awareness to where it isn't just a month, it's actually like a day-to-day thing.
No, it's every single day. I mean, it's upside down, but this tattoo says rinse do. And rent is due mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually every single day, no matter what. If you're not showing up in every single one of those areas consistently every single day, then you're going to be struggling. And it's only to keep yourself in check and to keep your mental health disciplined and to keep everything as close to par as you can.
Yeah. So the where I would ask is like how you do yours. Like
Oh,
how do
how I
you
do
keep your
mine?
mental health? Yeah, like that would be the
Yeah, all
next
right.
follow up, right?
Yeah, so, for me, I start off every morning when I get out of bed, literally, I just roll out of bed, lay out, get on my knees, and pray. And give thanks to God for this day, for keeping me above ground, for protection of the day, for thanking Him for the blessings of the day. And then I get my coffee, I sit outside, and I read my Bible scriptures with worship music. And then, 20 minutes to an hour, pending how much time I have, I'll do that. And then I'll go to the gym. And I'm at the gym an hour, 2 hours, taking care of myself. And, half the battle is showing up at the gym. There's been days where I've gone to the gym in the parking lot and thought about leaving. But I was like, no, this is the hardest part. And I just walk in. And on those days, I always feel way better walking out than I did walking in.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I think one thing that we don't really understand with mental health is that it also starts with your physical health. I think there's this other part of just self care. It's like, you know, I talk about gratitude, self care, movement, adaptability, but the first two are I feel like the most important things, and that usually when those people miss those two things, that's usually where, and they're kind of easy fixes. That's the other part. Like they're one of the more easy fixes.
Yeah.
So, for you, after you get out of the gym and then you're feeling like you have your self care, how motivated does that put you through your day? Where is you have this new motivation and this new inspiration,
Yeah.
but also like what are you doing with that for because you're taking care of your
Right.
mental health that way.
I mean, just going to the gym, no matter what your goals are, and you plan on doing it every single day or minimum, let's just say 3 times a week, and you go, you already feel accomplished. You already done your hard for the day. And the hard is showing up for yourself in the morning. And then when you can show up for yourself and take care of your mental health through your faith, through your meditation, through physical fitness. And I don't want anybody to be misconstrued. You don't have to go to the gym to get your movement in, to get your physical fitness in. There's been plenty of weeks where I've done calisthenics in my garage and went for a 2 or 3 mile run after and came home and still have those same endorphins running through. And for men, the best antidepressant is the gym. I mean, it is. And you don't want to be on antidepressants, you don't want to take pills, same here. Then get to the gym and take care of yourself there. Because it's not just the physical workout, it's the voices and thoughts that we fight off in our head that, we push through that and then we show ourselves that we are worth it, that we are worth the fight it takes for ourselves. And what, you didn't ask this, but some people are probably thinking, what credit do you have? How can you vouch for this for yourself? Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at me, but there was a point when I was 265 pounds and I decided enough was enough. I was 34 years old. I'm 38 now, and at that point I was bending over, tying my shoe, and coming up out of breath, and I was like, something has to change. My daughter was a year and a half. I was always going through a cyclical cycle of losing 20, 30 pounds. And at the point I decided to do a natural bodybuilding transformation competition. And I had already lost 20, 30 pounds by the time I decided to commit. And I went from 265 to 197 in 18 months.
First of
And
all, so I want to say congratulations on that. So I don't want to get into
no,
as
you're
much
good.
of the story. Like I want to get into like where the transformation, but also where your battles with mental health, and so people can relate to you. So I know that like you were very transparent with me on our first conversation
Yeah.
about like where you were, where you had been. Sorry, there was a connection issue.
You're good.
Okay. So,
You're good.
and you were super transparent. Like you were so transparent that it felt like Eminem on 8 Mile. Like here is everything I have, and I'm telling you this, so
Yeah.
you're
All
not
right. Let's
able to
get nitty
weaponize.
gritty.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
so here's the thing: is we're looking for people that other people can relate, that
yeah.
their stories like really matter, and allow them to understand like through you
Yeah.
their healthcare their health journey could be the same. If they're you see someone that's on the street that's 260, 280, they can be just like you. They just need to have that person to be able to inspire. This is the inspiration part. So for that part of story, what part of that aspect can you like motivate and inspire other people? Because they're looking at you, Joshua.
The work is worth it. I mean, that's it. We all carry this hurt from not being seen, from not being heard, to being misunderstood, to be underappreciated, undervalued. And a lot for me personally, I carried that weight. You know, I would try to talk about it and I would get dismissed. I tried to talk about it in my previous marriage and I got dismissed. I wasn't taken seriously at all. You know, even in the workplaces, not being seen and not being heard and being misunderstood and being fired and let go. You know, a lot of times it's no fun. It sucks. It makes you feel worthless, that you're not good enough. What's the point of life to keep going on? And I was there. I was contemplating life nearly 2 years ago. July 18th of 24, I was 5 seconds away from taking my own life. And what I don't talk about is 2 weeks prior to that, and the math adds up, starting July 4th up to the 18th, I was contemplating what the point of life was outside of religion and children, and I didn't have an answer. You know, my relationship wasn't good. I was trying to keep up with work while maintaining that relationship, and my needs in that relationship were being overlooked, and her needs were made to feel more important than mine. And you know, it just got to a point where I got burnt out of being the caretaker, and the father and the housekeeper and the cook. And you know, on top of that, I really didn't have much family support. You know, they only wanted to, it seemed like when it was convenient for them to hang around, and you know, I didn't seem heard by my family or any of that. And yeah, I was going to therapy. Yeah, I was on antidepressants. Yeah, I have a, you know, a huge thing people don't talk about that they carry so much shame with is their mental health diagnoses. You know, whether it's bipolar or schizophrenia. For me, I'm diagnosed with a mood disorder. And people are like, well, what does that entail? Well, that's just it. It's a mood disorder. And I do take medication for the mood disorder, and it does help. I'm thankful for it. It's the only one that I haven't got off of because I know what happens when I do, and it's not good. And it's not because of lack of restraint or anything like that. And going back to those 2 weeks, it was tough. I was constantly being criticized when I came home. All I wanted was to be greeted at the door after a 10, 12-hour workday. And instead, I would have to come home and cook and clean and do dishes and sweep and all that stuff. And I wasn't asking for a picture perfect life, but just for some basic stuff to be met. And it made me feel really undervalued. And it was a Thursday night, the July 18th, and that night, you know, the woman I was with at the time, we were arguing, and you know, it just slowly was becoming mutually toxic, and we had a fight, and then she went upstairs, and then came back down, and started pushing my buttons again, and then I went back into the bedroom and shut the door, and I was laying on the bed, just staring off into the blackness of the room and just contemplating literally doing it right then and there that night because I've had enough of it. And I felt like I would be doing my. See, I always struggled with my anger and controlling it, and that having a negative effect on my daughter, who was 5 then, 4 or 5, and that was the biggest thing that got put on me from my father, was his anger and lack of control of it and lashing out and not understanding the root issue of the anger. And I thought that I would be doing my daughter and everyone else around me a service if I just took myself out. And I had peace with it. I had, in a weird way, I felt calm about it. And so for those 5-10 minutes I was laying there, all of a sudden, um, the girl I was with comes in and says some stuff, pushes my button, and I got up out of bed, threw the covers off of me, and I said F it, and I walked through the bedroom, through the living room, through the kitchen, and I have a gun safe. And I punched in the code to the gun safe, and I opened it, and I always keep my pistol chambered, and I knew I was just going to grab and go. And so I opened the door, and as my arm's reaching up for the gun, halfway up, my whole body went into complete paralysis. Standing up, I could barely move. I could barely turn my head. And one moment, I saw and felt Satan come out of my body like a genie coming out of a bottle from my stomach straight up through my head. And I saw and felt Satan come out of me, and I saw him hover up and away from me like a black soulless cloud with white soulless eyes looking down at me like he was mad he didn't get me. And in the same moment, I caught a glimpse of God's face and saw him cloak himself. What I didn't share was my ex fiance, then the woman I was with, was 20 feet behind me. My daughter was upstairs that night. And countless times I've played what could have happened of my daughter coming down the stairs to everything. And it brings the tears that she didn't have to go through that. And then I'm still here so I can be here for her and continue to be her protector. And after that night, shortly after, I did 6 weeks of intensive outpatient therapy. And there's no shame in that. And I dug deep into the root causes of everything. And when I was going through my physical health journey, I would watch podcasts, and Jocko Willett came across a lot. And one of the reels, he said that anger is weakness. And so that really got with me to focus on my own self, because I'll never forget when I recognized I really needed to change my ways and change how I responded. It was a Saturday morning, and I had eggs and on a styrofoam plate and a plastic fork, and I brought the eggs up on the fork and they fell off, and then repeated and they fell off, and the third time it repeated and fell off, and I just got extremely frustrated and mad at myself. And I realized then that I can't do that anymore. I can't treat myself like that. And so the quote, be the change you want, be the change in the world you want to see. Well, I wanted people to start being nicer to me. I want people to love me and see me for who I am. But the truth is, I didn't love me. I couldn't see myself for who I was. So
Yes,
how could other people do the same for me if I wasn't doing it for myself first?
absolutely. So first of all, I just want to put some words in here. So first of all, I want to say I'm proud of you. I I'm really proud that you came on this platform to share that with people, because I don't think how you realize how many people can relate to that. And there's somewhere someone out there that is probably contemplating suicide or doing something to themselves,
100%.
and you probably had that type of impact on somebody. And so as you are growing through this personal development, and you're your podcast host, and you're being on other people's platforms and sharing the message, How does that make you feel? How does that also equip you to where you feel like you're that dude, you're that person that people will look up to be able to be inspired, man. It's a heavy crown, man, put on somebody's head, especially in the early parts of this journey. And I know that because it's very similar to me. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to share that with you.
Man, God, I'm kind of, give you the answer, then backtrack. God's given me visions of stadiums filled with men, of me sharing on stage with this. Because, like you said, I'm not the only one feeling like this. I lost what really challenged me for my mental health was I lost a friend, childhood friend, to suicide 5 years ago. And how I carry it, it's not with ego, it's not with pride, it's with gratitude and humbleness and appreciation. Because I've seen what happens if I put myself first and it doesn't work out well. Um,
Absolutely.
but, just knowing that I can be here for people and that I'm just a normal guy with a story to share that relates to others, man, it's just a blessing to save other people's lives, whether I know it or not. And it's not about the stats, about how many lives are saved. It's not about how many lives are touched. It's about the impact, And that's another one of my favorite quotes by Jackie Robinson is, "A life is not important except the impact it has on others." And
It's a very powerful quote.
he didn't play baseball in the majors, for himself. He did it to break in a new barrier, and that's what we have to do as men is continue to break this negative stigma around men's mental health. Because I tell you what, nobody thinks about other people when they're about to take their own life. No one is thinking about all the greatness. I didn't think about my friend's mom hugging me saying she wished she was hugging her son because he took his own life. I didn't think about any of that. I didn't think about my mom hugging somebody else saying that. Um,
It's very powerful, Josh. That's very powerful. The fact that you have took that pain and you realized and you alchemized it to become a leader. There's not very many people that understand how leaders are formed and how powerful being in the forge is,
yeah,
how being molded and how difficult, and then also being able to be in that particular moment to realize that you can lead.
yeah. I mean, it's constantly stepping up. There's been times where I've had opportunities to lead where I chose not to, and then it just didn't feel right inside of me. So, when you have a calling, who cares if other people are doing it? Who cares if you've never done it? That's the point. You're gonna fail, and it's what you do when you get back up. If you're gonna keep going and learn from the failures as positive lessons, because there's lessons in everything. And when we choose to sit back and really take in the full perspective and are able to take responsibility and take ownership of actions, that's it. We have to
Very
protect
empower.
our, yeah.
Sorry, it's very empowering when you're able to take that. And so, what where do you feel like you can lead in the mental health part? Like you've shown me why you're equipped, but tell the people the part where you are that leader and you have taken that pain and now you're into the purpose part of this journey where you're able to speak in stadiums. You're able to speak in front of churches and places like that.
It would, it's just, what was the first part again? I'm sorry, the main question.
Yeah. So the main question is how do you feel taking that pain
Oh,
and
got you.
it being pushed into that purpose and for
Yeah. You said it, man. Your pain will pull you into your purpose. You can try to avoid it and run about it, but your pain eventually will pull you into your purpose. And I feel like my purpose is to help people of my generation and younger, to like high schoolers and youths, to understand that this is not the way of life. Hanging onto your screen is not doing anything for you. It's just depleting you. And having real conversations and real friends, and I'm not talking about friends that want to be around you because you're Mr. Popular and they can benefit from you and what you worked hard to earn. Those people you gotta let go and cut out to protect your peace. And that's the lesson. Is I'd rather have one solid friend than five friends pulling me in different directions who are not in the same class.
Abs-
It's all about, it's teaching people to be careful who you allow to sit at your table. That's it.
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that you said that was super powerful was being able to empower these kids and the people that have been bullied and into these things, but also you being able to be that person to be able to speak to them and show them a different way. I think that's the other part, man. And I want you to really just set with that, and really feel how how much guided and how inspiration that you are to others. I want you to just kind of sit on that part is like, I know you talk about being on those stages and there's this part of the journey. I want you to appreciate that part of the journey because the journey truly is the greatest gift in the world. You
It
said
is.
something about you said something about failure. I don't believe in failure. I believe it's a lesson. I believe
Absolutely.
it's just like losing. It's not, instead of losing, it's just running out of points to end the game. Like there's still a lesson for you to go on, and so take that and really run with that. But also, as I'm pouring into you and being compassionate to your journey, I want you to be able to take that ball that I'm handing you and like run
Absolutely.
because I really see you as being someone of great character, great integrity, and that's why I wanted you on my show.
I appreciate that. A lot, man, when you're going through loss, when you're going through feeling left out, unseen, not validated, you're carrying a lot of bitterness, a lot of hurt with you. And we're wanting justice, we're wanting vengeance, we're just wanting to slap the other person upside the head to get them to see. And those people may not ever see you. And the hardest part, two hardest parts is accepting that and realizing those people aren't going to be there for you. Those people chose not to be in your life anymore. They've abandoned you. They left. And the next hardest part is to forgive within yourself, because carrying that spite, that bitterness, that's the heaviest weight of them all. And when we surrender and let go of that to God, of that pain, and we forgive them, it just does something very moving inside of you and it frees you up. And a lot of us hold on to that pain because it's comfortable and we find our identities inside that pain. And we feel like we won't know who we are when we let go of that. And that's kind of the point. The point is growth, is change. And if we don't let go, we're just going to keep in the same cyclical cycles.
Absolutely. So we just have a few minutes left. So I have a question for you: Is where can people find you that want you to come on the stage? They're wondering where you are, but also how can people support you? Because like I said, man, in your bio, it talks about you're rooted in purpose, strength, and authenticity. And I know the people that are watching the show see that, and they want to be a part of your tribe. How do they find that? How do they
Man,
find you?
they can go to my Instagram. I'm mainly on Threads. Some Facebook. My Instagram is joshua.lopez000. Same with Threads. And then I do have a podcast. I'm about to put some content up on it, in the next couple of days. And it's called Charge the Storm. And, faith, discipline, and purpose. And that's exactly it. If you don't charge the storms in life, the storms are going to come to you and you're going to be less prepared. You're going to be weary. You're going to be worn out. You're not going to be the strongest. And when we don't charge a storm, we're having a victim mindset. And It's taken me a long time to get out of that victim mindset in every realm of life. And
Absolutely.
when
Okay.
we rise above that, we're charging the storm.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great name for a podcast. And so, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on. And like I said, man, I wanted to just pour into you and just to let you see what I see and why I wanted you. And I felt like I had to have you as part of these 30 great men that are on here. And so, man, I appreciate you. I love you, man. Anything I can do as a brother to you, we're forming a brotherhood. I think that's the thing
Absolutely.
that this movement has done is form a brotherhood, but also realize that we all have our issues and we all have our circumstances that we went through to get to where we are. And
Yeah.
so I just appreciate you being a part of this.
Thank you. And I mean, I love you too. And if I, one last thing is everyone next to you has gone or is going through the same hard situation that you are doing and going through. You are not alone in anything. All you have to do is ask somebody and ask seriously how they're doing. Ask them 2 times how they're doing, and you'll get the answer.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that that night went the way it did and didn't go the other way. So I just wanted to share that. All right, so this is episode 6 of Show Up to Win presents Show Up to Hill. Episode is tomorrow, and I am on marching on to that journey. And I'm so glad that Josh Lopez could come on and be a part of this one. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
guys.
day.
You too.